Welcome back. Now, our other big debate tonight, days after the CBI director said that black money stashed by Indians abroad amounts to $500 billion and that Indians are the largest depositors in Swiss banks. The Swiss government has today taken the unusual step of contradicting that. In a statement that was issued by the embassy today, they have said that there have been several speculations about the amount of wealth held by Indians in Swiss banks. Such estimates and statistics lack evidence and are uncorroborated. The CBI director's statement had surprised many earlier this week, since until now the government has maintained that it really does not have an accurate estimate. And that brings us to our next question tonight. Should there be amnesty for those with black money abroad? And the reason we're asking that is because the finance ministry, we understand, is now also consulting legal opinion to see whether black money from abroad can be brought back, at least in some form or the other, by giving amnesty to those who have this money stashed away. Joining us also on that tonight is the former director of the CBI, Mr. Joginder Singh. We have Mr. Ved Jain from ASSOCHAM. ASSOCHAM had submitted a report to the government recently saying amnesty is a good idea. And we have Mr. Keshav Rao of the Congress party, who I see gesturing there from Hyderabad. Let me first ask Mr. Joginder Singh, where do you think the CBI director came up with this figure from? You have Switzerland today denying this. But where did this figure come from, in your view? You see,
CBI has been investigating cases, including 2G, and number of other scams, starting right from Urea, Harshit Mehta and all that. What Director CBI has said has got some scientific basis. It may not be exactly correct to the last dot. And so far as even Swiss Banking Association had said in 2006, we denied. Indians have $1,456 billion. That is something like $70 trillion of money stashed there itself. Even in 2009, 2010, the president of Swiss Banking Association said here, the figure is not correct, it is something around about $3 billion, is what he has said here. But the exact figure is difficult to arrive at, because black money transactions, both in India and abroad, are not done with receipts. Nobody gives you any acknowledgement that he's got put this money here.
So these are rough estimates?
It is a rough estimate, and I think earns on the right side. Probably the figure will be much more, and as I say here, there is triple the amount of black money in India than what it is outside.
Mr. Padgaonkar, do you think that it's possible to make an estimate, because there have been so many different figures on black money over the years? What do you think about this?
Well, you know, studies have been made on the subject. Let me refer to you also to NN Vora's report on the nexus between big money and politicians. That report has not seen the light of the day. So I go along with what Mr. Joginder Singh says. I believe the amount of black money that is generated within the country is distinctly higher, and you can see that in your everyday life. I mean, try buying a flat or selling a flat anywhere in India.
Absolutely.
Without black money transactions, virtually nothing seems to happen.
Right. Nirmala Sitharaman, what about this issue of amnesty, though, and also this issue of the figure? It's close to actually what L.K. Advani also said, because it translates.
We had a task force which went into this, which contained, the task force comprised of domain experts who worked on their area, and therefore they didn't come across such sources with which they would have, hesitated to give a figure. The certain figure that they've come up, which was a rough estimate, as you repeatedly are reminding, all of them are engaging in only getting an estimate. And the estimate which this task force, which Shri Advani ji formed, did arrive at something very similar. So there is reason to believe that there is this kind of a money which is outside of the country. It's very well to have black money. I'm not supporting it. Yes, it is black money or also there within the country. But the fact remains that Switzerland is not the only country where money is stored.
Absolutely.
There are more than 69, 70 countries abroad where they are considered tax haven. So if Switzerland is saying we don't have that kind of money, or this is not the kind of money, maybe just in their country. But Indians have money in other tax havens too.
So what do you think of the amnesty idea?
See, I think the government has to come up with a comprehensive plan, rather than every now and then suggest, now we are coming up with this, the double taxation avoidance treaty, some other time talk about something else. That doesn't help. The government has to give a comprehensive picture of how it's going to handle it, how are they going to access all the accounts. After all, they are not going to be staying static. Once they got the whiff that government is going to act, they'll all be moving around. The accounts will
But
free.
on principle,
But on principle,
should people who have illegally stashed away money abroad be given any amnesty?
here again, what is black money? Is it just avoidance of tax, or is it slush money earned through wrong means? So these are very nuanced, fine, we have to understand the definition of each of it, and then think of a model scheme through which you can either repatriate the money or do something to get it back to the country. But you can't just have one blanket principle of saying I'm going to give amnesty without understanding what kind of black money prevails outside.
I just wanted to ask Mr. Keshav Rao, as a senior leader of the Congress party. Mr. Rao, is there a plan at all, as far as this is concerned? Is amnesty as a principle, you think, workable?
Well, I don't know. We are dragged into this debate for the simple reason you had some kind of a news item today in one of the newspapers in Delhi. That is why you jumped to amnesty. Nirmala was right in saying it is an issue which has to be looked into in a larger perspective. When you talk about it, in way back in 1992, when we were trying to seek money from the IFM for our own foreign exchange to come back, we had this amnesty, but I don't think our experience has been that good. But nonetheless, the suggestion of amnesty has been cropping up now and then. This is an issue on which the government must look. But let us understand first, the money, black money that we are talking, is generated more in our own domain rather than foreign. But that is not the debate, the point for debate today. We are only thinking of the money that is stashed in foreign.
But the BJP's point is that there doesn't seem to be a concrete, there doesn't seem to be a concrete plan by the government to really take this forward.
No. You see, it is not that simple. The focus is on laws. The focus is international practices. The focus is on norms. Today you can get this kind of a black money stashed abroad by some kind of an agreement between two countries. Now, how do you get the information at all first? We don't have the precise figure. Although most of the institutions like BJP's task force, today's international, you had this international thing which also gave you the same figure. Today we have a lot of this, and the government has mandated the Institute of NCERA and other things to really work out the exact money that is there. That is one part. But today the question is, how do we get? We have to get, one way is to get into some kind of an agreement where double taxation is avoided. That gives us only an information. These double taxation avoidance agreements give us an information is what can be done.
In other words, you want agreement with the holder of black money, so that you give us this thing and we'll...
Do you think it's unethical? Do you think it's an unethical principle, Mr.
No, well, I think it's not unethical.
No,
look at the fact here, Germany gave you a list of 18 individuals here. What is action taken against them? Arsenal said here the largest black money holders are the Indians here. And he said he will, 11 December 2010.
So you think there's a lack of political will to proceed?
Well, totally. I mean, if they want, you will get this kind of a money straight away. If you don't have will, then nothing will ever happen.
Mr. Jain, why do you support an amnesty scheme?
Well, you see, let's understand the whole gamut of this black money and the money stashed abroad. We are talking of the estimates. We must be very clear, it is unaccounted money, unreported money. So you cannot have
any estimate.
A fair estimate. You can't have an account. You can have an account which is accounted. Money which is unaccounted, you cannot have an account.
Right.
Now, this
so you think the CBI director jumped the gun?
No. See, it's a estimation which is being made, and I will appreciate and I will support that estimate in a different manner. You see how the Indian economy has grown over a period. The total GDP value of the Indian economy in the 1960s were just $36 billion. Today in 2010 it has reached to 1.7 trillion, 36 billion to 1,727 billion dollars. Indian economy GDP is growing, and as we all understand, when the economy is growing, the proportionate amount of the money which is being not reported is growing. And if we take into account a few percent of this gives an indication that how much money can be unaccounted money, the black money. Now, as Mr. Jogendra Singh said, that this money can be in India and it can be abroad. And now there is a human tendency that you will try to conceal, you will try to hide, and you will try to conceal and hide where you believe that you will be able to maintain and you will be able to conceal. As Nirmala ji rightly said that there are 70 tax haven countries, you would like to take the money there into those countries because you know
is
that...
Is amnesty, you think, realistically...
Amnesty, now I'm coming to amnesty. Yeah. Why amnesty is
I'm asking you this because I've got an SMS as we speak from a senior left leader who said that this is a shocking debate that you're having because whatever is there should be confiscated. It is illegal money. Where is the question of amnesty?
There is a question of confiscation.
I will answer
You
this
don't
question.
have a law to
I'm just asking you. Yeah.
Just one thing. You don't have a law to confiscate the ill-gotten gains of the bureaucrats.
I think he's talking about the principle
Madhya Pradesh
value.
has passed,
Yeah,
Bihar has
let him
passed.
answer that. Why
Government of
do you
India
think-
doesn't have it.
I
Where
will
is the
understand
question
it.
of this thing?
It's easy to said to be rather than to be done. You see, as on today's law also permit you to tax, to levy penalty, even to confiscate. Even under the income tax law, in case any money which is found to be unreported, there is a tax liability of 30%, and there can be a penalty of 300%, which can mean to 120% of the money you found, get it out. But the problem is how you will be able to reach out. Now, India has an agreement, double taxation avoidance agreement. Now, all those double taxation avoidance agreement do not provide you automatic information. Now, we are after this G20 and after this OECD, and because of the debate which has taken place across the world, there is now going to be a change in the DTA whereby information will be exchanged, but it will be prospectively, not retrospectively.
No, so the bottom line
Nidhi,
is
I'll just
what?
come to- I just want to highlight three important milestones in this. First is you went to ratify the United Nations Convention Against Corruption, wherein a very important component is to get the information from various countries if only you ratified the convention. What did India do after a lot of pressure being put by media and also by political opponents? Indeed, last year, May, the government went to ratify it, but with conditionalities attached. They said we'll ratify it, which would have enabled us to get more information from tax havens without having to worry about double taxation treaty. We would have got the information. But then this government ratified it with conditionality saying we'll apply this in the future, but not for the past. Which means you're not interested in getting names of people who have already stashed money, who are probably fleeing from one account to another. That's one thing. Second, we're talking about black money being generated within the country, a legitimate point. But on whom we have information? What action has this government taken from then?
Okay.
Hassan Ali is
Before
a classic example.
Yeah.
And the third one,
Yeah.
700 names the French government gave without us asking.
Yeah.
Where is that list? Supreme Court you go, the list
Mr.
came
Rao,
from
you
Legal
want to
Western
answer
Bank.
that? Is there a-
22
No, no.
names, only part list
Yeah.
was given to them.
Mr.
This
Rao?
government doesn't have the conviction
One
to
moment,
fight.
let Mr. Rao answer that.
Look here, we have something like 36,000 pieces. You understand? When do we give? Do you think we give the names? Are we not alerting them? Will not they withdraw the money? So these are many issues that are involved. It is not that simplistic as we are trying to talk today sitting here. But the question today you said amnesty both for the internal as well as the foreign. Since we are talking about that, we must think amnesty could be one of the methods or strategies, but much thought needs to be given to that amnesty issue. Because let us not think today black money evasion of tax is not a crime per se, but at the same time unless there is a fraud involved. So there is, as just now Mr. Jain suggested, there could be a penalty onto that. But we need to look into that, whether we should make Income Tax Act as a penal act. It can't be that. But that is why if amnesty as an unilateral action, because for tax avoidance of the double taxation or any other international agreement as procedures, we need some kind of a cooperation with the two countries. And as she has referred to the UN Convention, it's an entirely different thing. It's a bigger
I think she's talking about a
platform
larger
that she's trying to
principle
take.
of whether
But
there's
since-
enough political
since the
will to
cooperation is
proceed
not
on
there,
this issue.
No, one word.
Yeah.
Even in that, I'm coming to amnesty. Even in the kind of a cooperation between two countries, what is required is a voluntary disclosure. So you'll have information
I'll
and
answer
voluntary
that.
information and voluntary agreement.
Okay, Mr.
So
Singh,
today,
before I come to you,
amnesty
for example,
is
yeah.
being
No,
thought of.
the tax havens, I'll give you only one figure of Switzerland. 80,000 Indians travel to Switzerland every year. 25,000 are frequent visitors on this place. One of the biggest sources of money is Liechtenstein.
Yeah.
Its size only 10 by 16 square kilometers, 160. You send 10 people, they'll be able to take even the photographs with the cameras, who are the persons who are coming on this one also. And secondly, I would also urge it here, if you really want to go whole hog, set up a website of the government of India where anybody sitting here, you and I want to say here, so has got the black money, check it up. Sift it here, so that you are empowering the people. You are giving the right to expose. And let there be no this thing, opinion that we are ruining somebody's reputation. At least the names
Okay.
you have got.
Mr.
Why
Pargankar,
don't you tell
Mr.
people that these are
Pargankar,
the people black sheep?
Your thoughts on what's just been said and on the amnesty issue in particular.
Give
Do we need to
amnesty,
be-
but
do we need to be realistic about black money?
Give amnesty last final time. It can't be every 10
Every
years.
few
or so.
years, yeah. Mr. Pargankar.
Yeah, Nidhi, we are talking of two interconnected things. One is how to get the money stashed abroad back into the country. The second, which to me is even more important, is how do you plug the loopholes in the system which allow people to take money out of the country? In the first case, I would go along that for one last time, perhaps an attempt can be made to ask for an amnesty, but after the date of the amnesty is over, the most stringent punishment should be given to whoever is fraud.
Absolutely right.
With the cash.
All right. Last comments, Mr. Jain. I have to wrap up.
See, I will just clarify. Mr. Joginder Singh has raised a point that let's look into the visitors of Switzerland. I will just clarify it is not necessary to visit Switzerland to open a bank account there. You can do whatever sitting here in India, what you want to do it like that. Secondly, the generation of the black money has taken place over the period irrespective of the regime which has ruled this country. So we need not make any distinction between one regime or the other regime. So third point is, as on date, we need to understand that this is a huge money. And under the existing law, whatever you may be, because we live in a civilized society and there is a international law which we need to adhere to. You cannot take an arbitrary stand, we would like to do like this. And you need to understand the ground reality. SOCHM has constituted a committee for this purpose. We have carried out this research for the 6 months. We have involved all industries, all economists, every expert with us. And we came to a conclusion there is a ground reality that this money should be brought back. And that's why we have proposed a 40% tax rate as against a 30% tax rate, and we have proposed 10% infrastructure bonds, 50%, and no benefit to be given to anybody also. And we have taken into account all loopholes, all lacuna in the earlier voluntary disclosure scheme. So this scheme is different than the earlier scheme.
Okay. I'm afraid I'm
The
completely
last
out.
point I'd like to add
Task
here.
force,
Yeah.
BJP's task force, which Shri Advani constituted, gives some
Assocham.
suggestions. Assocham is giving suggestions. Everybody is knowing about it, and people are willing to participate and cooperate with the government. But is the government moving? It's been like this for last 2 years.
All right.
I'll say one last word here.
Yeah. Everyone can have a last word.
This is, look at the FDI. Mauritius doesn't have that much GDP, but 40%, 41% of GDP from 2000 to 2010 has flowed to us from Mauritius. 9.84 from Singapore, percentage-wise. And even Dubai has sent us 1.44%.
I like how you got your laptop there with all your
That's what
information.
I'm saying here.
You come armed, Mr. Joginder
My
Singh.
point is the government also told the Supreme Court that when they wanted to set up SIT for black money, don't bring a super policeman on this thing here. Neither
That's
they
right.
would do, not
And
they would allow the Supreme Court to do
that
it.
SIT hasn't really
But
even been
Nidhi-
able
No,
to do its
they
job.
government opposed it.
Yeah,
Government
and
opposed it.
it's curious today. I
International.
just want to say this before we
No
end the show.
scoring
It's
point here.
curious today that Mr. V. Narayan Swamy, who is the Minister of State in the PMO under whom the CBI comes, actually said that the CBI director got this figure on of black money from the Supreme Court appointed panel which submitted its report, whereas that panel hasn't even started its work yet. So we're trying to figure out where exactly and what exactly the government means on this issue. I'm out of time. I wish we could talk about this more. We'll see you all next week. Thank you very much to the panel for joining us tonight. See you all on Monday night at 8 o'clock. Good night.